So here we are just on the tarmac of the airport. This is the apron. We're just going to get into our aircraft now. We're at gate 104. This is Pier 6. So let's just hop into the aircraft. And immediately we will be able to tell that there is no power. The aircraft is completely dead of power. That's the way it really should be when we first embark in the cockpit. And what we want to do is just to clarify and make sure that everything is in its off position or closed position. So starting from the center pedestal, there are no lights active, there are no switches open, the throttle is in its idle mode, idle position, the speed brake lever is in its retracted position, and the flaps lever is at 0. There are no lights indicated on the glass panels, and similarly with the mode control panel, no lights are illuminated. Now what we turn our attention to now is actually getting power on board. So I'll just skip to the middle of the aircraft. We'll go back slightly. That way we get a good view of the overhead panel. And what we want to first of all do is to turn the battery switch on. So battery switch is now on. Standby power mode is set to auto. We'll just move down slightly. Bus transfer will be set to auto. So the bus transfer is now set to auto, and we can also turn the emergency exit lights on to armed, and the guards go down, they are closed. So the next thing that we need to do is to provide some window heat. This is particularly important where icing conditions are present. So now we can move away from the overhead panel and fix ourselves and attention to, we've got the battery power on. Now we need to refuel the aircraft. So what we'll do is we need to go to the flight management computer. I'll just move slightly away so we can gain visual range with the buttons. Press SIM, start to refuel. We know how much fuel we want, we've already calculated that. So 3.91 per wing tank. And the good thing about this is, and that's you don't have to, in a real aircraft, each tank gets fueled individually. Obviously a simulator you can do all three respectively at the same time. And the centre tank we've worked out to 1.58, so that translates to 1,580 kilograms of fuel in the centre tank, with a total of 9,400 kilograms of fuel. That is what we want. So as we are now refueling, we need to get some ground power established. So we return to the main 737-800 menu, go to ground support. Before we connect ground power, we need to turn our attention to the speed brake, parking brake. Parking brake now goes on, the light gets illuminated, so the brake is now on, which means that we can connect ground power. That's connected. And ground air source as well, because at the moment the battery just provides electrical power. It doesn't actually provide pneumatic pressure. So we get the pneumatic pressure either from the auxiliary power unit or the engines when they're running, but obviously we haven't got the APU running at the moment, so we use a ground air source. So That's all connected. We can now go back to menu and flight management computer, and we can zoom out and move our attention to the overhead panel again. And we'll see that the ground power available button is illuminated, so all we do now is just literally turn that on. We also now just move to the right a bit, because now we need to turn on the air supply. So we now go to these are the pack switches. There are 3 packs on this particular aircraft, and we always turn them to auto mode. Recycling fan goes on, and left packs both on. You can see there has been a slight drop in the duct pressure, so we're now running at 39 psi, which is what we want. And now we can turn our attention to aligning the inertial reference system. So the inertial reference system basically is basically gyros, which there are 3 gyros, and these are very sensitive to different pitch angles. They link into the GPS and provide us with the correct latitude and longitude on where the aircraft actually sits on the Earth. So what we now do is to align the IRS by again going into the aft panels, and we are here. So we turn both aft panels to navigation. We can zoom out slightly, zoom out, and we can now bring ourselves down to the panel again. Right, so on the flight management computer we press position initialization. Actually, I get a bit of a better view for that. Let's just zoom in a bit. Come down, and we should have a good view of, that's better view now of the FMC. Okay, so this is the flight management computer. Let's just scroll slightly to the left. That's a better view. So now we input the ICAO code to Gatwick, which is EGKK, and line select 2, and you'll see the lat long positions come up. So this is the actual lat long position that is actually in the data of the FMC. We then copy it to the scratch pad, and then once it's on the scratch pad we can then set it, line select key to the right, and to set IRS position. So now the IRS is beginning to align. Whilst it's beginning to align, we can actually continue with programming the flight management computer. So we've already got EGKK's scratched into scratch pad. We put that as our origin, so this is the airport that we're departing from, and we're going to Palma, which ICAO code is LEPA, into destination. We can then move over to the departures arrival page. Now we know from our ATIS report that runway 26 left is active, and we do know from our flight ops that we'll be leading on a Bogner 1 X-ray, standard instrument departure. We then focus our attention back to the department and arrivals page and focus on Palma's arrivals. Arrival at Palma, traditionally always standard operation procedure for Palma, you arrive 24 left, take off 24 right, so it will be an ILS arrival Zulu 24 left with this particular type of aircraft, and will be expected to arrive at a LORAS 1 pop-up. That's the star, the standard terminal arrival route. Now this is simply inputted. We don't need to go to any transition, but we simply activate it so that it's impregnated into the FMC. Execute that, and then we go to the route page and continue inputting our route. So I'll do this, and then once the aircraft is initialized, we'll come back and focus on our pre-start checks. See you soon.